All right, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us and attending our 11th workshop for this semester. Our workshop today is going to be about practical tips for publishing your first paper. The workshop is going to be presented by Dr. Rasha Mohammed Elbashir Saleh. Dr. Rasha has a bachelor and master's degrees of education, that is in English language teaching. She has a PhD of education in Applied Linguistics, and she's a language instructor at the English Language Institute at King Abdulaziz University since 2013. In addition to her work at the English Language Institute, Dr. Elbashir has taught at different colleges at King Abdulaziz University. She also is an associate professor of applied linguistics at the Faculty of Education in Sudan University of Science and Technology, who supervises both undergraduate and postgraduate students at both Sudan University and other Sudanese universities. Dr. Rasha is a CELTA graduate and a certified teacher training for the British Council Sudan. She has presented at many international conferences, including TESOL, International Convention, and EXPO, IATEFL and TESOL Sudan. She has also published many articles in different topics related to TEFL. Dr. Elbashir is interested in Pragmatics, English language assessment, Contrastive linguistics, and teacher training. Try to enjoy this workshop. Thank you in advance, Dr. Elbashir. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kamal, for the introduction. Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and good evening. As Dr. Kamal has introduced, today we're going to talk about the practical tips for publishing your first paper, and I think this is an essential topic, an important topic for all the teachers, whether at the who teach graduate students or postgraduate students. So publication is part of our career, and we have to develop ourselves and publish in order to get promotion and get recognition. Okay, so let me start. Okay. So the first question is why to publish? Why do we publish? Why to publish? Yeah, the question is for the participants. Why to publish? Yes. Yes, Asma. Yes, Ms. Asma. Yeah, why to publish? Okay. Anyone to answer the question? Why do we publish? Yes, Ms. Asma. Yeah. To benefit others. Excellent. Yes, to gain professional development. Exactly. Yes. Very good. Yes. Yeah. So as you said, we publish to get promotion. The first reason, or one of the reasons, is to get promotion, and to be recognized. Recognition is also one of the reasons. Just accept this, okay. So writing and publishing good research paper is essential for many reasons. The first reason is advancing research academic careers and to get promotion and to advance the state of empirical knowledge. It's really important for us to publish because this is, as I said before, it's part of our career and it shows that we're progressing and we contribute to the knowledge. Okay, so you need some tips in order to publish your article in a professional way. And the first step is you need to make sure that you have selected the journal you want to submit to. I know maybe most of you think that selecting the journal is the last step, but actually selecting the journal should be the first step when you try to publish, because when you choose your journal, the journal is going to give you all the instructions in order to write your paper in a good way. So one of the biggest mistakes you can make is to start writing up your research without first choosing the journal you want it to be published in. So choosing the journal before you start writing means you can tailor your work to build on research that's already been published there, and you know how you write your paper, because give you all the guidelines to write the paper or manuscript. And another tip is to understand your target journal's instructions for author. Of course, each journal has its own instruction. The first thing to do is that when you go to the website of the journal, you just go to the IFAs, which is the instruction for authors, in order to know the needed requirement for this journal. So the IFAs are individual set of requirements for the journal that help guide potential authors to construct their article in the correct way and prepare it for submission. And they will tell you exactly what the journal editorial board expect to see, and will also include details of specific processes to follow to ensure there are no problems during production should your article be accepted. Another thing is to understand, another tip is to understand the editorial policies and standards of reporting. So not only you need to understand the instruction for the author, but also you need to know the editorial policies and standards of reporting. That in each individual journal will have their own editorial policies, which can cover everything from how they produce or how the product be reviewed, the process for submitting the article. And it's important to familiarize yourself with the journal on policies, but in addition, you may need to review the policies of the publishing group. Editorial policies will clearly lay out the standards of reporting and expected by the journal or publisher, as well as covering everything from ethics, standard to use of third-party material. Is there a question? The slides are not moving. Okay. Is it moving now? Yes, okay, good. Yeah, so understand the editorial policies, as we said, and think about the 4 A's. What are the 4 A's? The 4 A's are aims, audience, awareness, and articulation. What is your aim? You need to understand what is your aim, and the audience that they are going to read this article or paper. And you need to be aware of everything related to the writing. I mean, the publication process, the policy of the editorial policy, as we said, the instruction of the journal itself. And you need to be aware of everything related to your manuscript writing. Another thing is articulation, which is you need to plan out a logical structure for your article. So each paper or article should have certain structure, and you need to plan it in advance. And the advice is you need to consider writing your instruction and conclusion last. once your key points have become clear, because writing the introduction and the conclusion, you need to write everything related to the article, everything in the article, I mean, and you need to sum up and to give the main points of the article. You cannot do that unless you finish everything. So my advice is that you need to consider writing your introduction and conclusion last. Write them at the end. Okay, so someone was raising hand. Is there any question? Okay. Using standard article templates is another tip, because each journal has its own templates. Once you go to the journal website, you're going to find the templates, and you need to follow it when you write your manuscript. This will help you, because you using templates will immediately help you determine how to structure your article correctly, and you can find links to these on your chosen journal. Another point is format-free submission that we have. Sometimes some journals do not ask us to write to follow certain format. So if you're lucky, you can find one of these journals where you can just write, and they ask you for certain requirement that as long as you see a consistent citation format and include everything necessary for review, you can submit work without needing to worry about formatting your manuscript to meet that journal requirements. Yeah, so another tip is to create a search engine friendly title. What do I mean by that? I mean, it's vital to incorporate your most relevant keyword in your title. Of course, each manuscript should have certain keyword. The keywords are really important for you. This will mean your article is more likely to be included in the result for relevant online searches. Whenever people search for relevant article, they will find your article. Ideally, it should include 1 to 2 keywords related to your topic, and these keywords should be within the first 65 characters of your title, so that they are visible in the search engine results. Optimize your abstract, and of course, abstract is one of the most important component of the article, because in the abstract you can find everything, and actually most of the researchers look for the abstracts. So to have the maximum impact in search engine, you should aim to place essential findings and keywords in the first 2 sentences of your abstract. In addition, you should aim to repeat your keywords 3 to 6 times within your abstract. Use keywords throughout your article, so only in the at the beginning. No, you need to use the keyword in the body of your article. When you submit your article, you will often need to include the keywords, so this will be used to index your article on the journal. That is why keywords are not just important in your title and abstract. You should aim to ensure you use them consistently throughout your article. So of course, we need to write. We need to look for, as I said, we need to look for the information for instructor or the instruction for OSIS, IFAs. So what information is included in the instruction for OSIS? What do you think? As I said before, you need, first of all, whenever you want to publish, yes, referencing style, excellent. Yes, Renat, well done. Referencing style, which style are you going to follow, or this journal follow? ABA or sections of the paper, exactly, yes, well done. Yes, Abdulaziz, number of words in abstract, tables and figures, exactly, yes. Yes, you're right. So the information included, you can find, as you said, you need to prepare table and figures if required. And of course, the tables and figures is one of the important component of the article. As you know that a picture is worth thousands words. So and you could say the same for table or figure in a manuscript, because whenever you just see the graph, you can interpret and you can read what the content of the research or the result of the research. So they are often the most impactful and efficient way to present your result. Tables and figures should present new information, and readers should be able to interpret them without reference to the text. So they should be very clear that no need to read the article in order to understand the figures or the tables. Write up the literature review, if required. Why if required? I always say if required, because this depends on the journal. So you need to go to the instruction for also to check if they require you to write a literature review or not, because of course each field of study has different requirements. So if required, literature review are not always required, but often form an important part of units. For example, for English teachers, it is part of our requirement, and all the social sciences. So typically, you would expect the literature review to discuss what is already known about the topic of the article and to identify gaps in current knowledge, present your approach to addressing those gaps. So when you write up the literature review, as you write, make sure to follow these steps: summarize and synthesize, analyze and interpret, critically evaluate, bring it all together at the end with a conclusion, and you give your own ideas. Another component is a method. You need to write the method. When you come to write your method section, you should use subheading to separate different methodologies. Describe what you did in the past tense. Of course, because it's a method, so you need to describe it in the past tense. Describe new method in enough detail. Describe established method briefly and include a reference. And state any statistical test and parameters. Okay, so it's not for me, yes. Okay. All right, so write up your results. In the results section, you're ultimately responding to the question, what have you found? So in the results, you need to answer this question, what have you found? To write an effective results section, you need to follow these steps. Simply state what you found, but don't interpret the result or discuss their implication. Only include representative results that are essential for your discussion point. Use subheading to separate the result of different experiments or methods. Present your result in a logical order. Use the past tense also to describe your result, but refer to any figures, of course, in the present tense. Don't duplicate data among figures, tables, and text. So write the discussion and conclusion. These sections are aimed at answering the question of what do your results mean? The discussion and conclusion. So to write an effective discussion and conclusion, follow these steps. You need to discuss your the conclusion in order of most to least important. We start with the most important and we end with the least important point. You need to compare your result with those from other studies. This is very important. So in order to show your contribution, talk about any inclusive results and explain them as best as you can. You can also suggest additional experiment needed to clarify the result further. It's important to briefly describe any limitations also of your study, discuss what your result may mean for researchers in the same field, how could your finding be applied, explain how your result extend the finding of previous studies. If your findings are preliminary, suggest further studies that need to be carried out, and at the end, state your main conclusion once again. Yeah, as I said before, you need to write the introduction at the end. Why? Because after finishing the manuscript and the study, you can write all the information needed in the introduction. So it is simpler to introduce and summarize something you have already written than something that doesn't exist yet. So while you may be tempted to write the introduction first, your introduction should provide readers with the background information needed to understand your study and the reasons why you conducted your experiment. A good introduction should answer the following question. What is the problem to be solved? Are there any existing solutions? Which is the best? What is its main limitation? What do you hope to achieve? And what do you hope to achieve? Yeah, so these are the main questions that the introduction answer. Yes, citation. As you mentioned before, you mentioned that the IFA include the citation policy. So there are various standard methods used for citing the sources of work. The reference system is broadly divided into two types: author date system and notation system. So the author date system, it includes the author and date of publication, hence named an author date system. And notation system, in this system, subscript number is placed in the text. And we have the common citation styles. I think most of you will be familiar with ABA style, the American Psychology Association, MLA style, the Modern Language Association, commonly used in humanities, Chicago Manual style, Harvard style, and yes, Harvard style. And we have yes, we can also have we either use this style, we can do them manually, or of course now with advance of technology, we can use software. We can have useful software to help us citing our references. You can use reference management software or online generators to manage and format this citation easily. Citation management software, these tools help you collect, organize, store, and automatically format citation in various styles. Of course, depending on the journal, the requirement of the journal, if they follow the ABA, MLA, Chicago, or etc. And some of the software, we have Zotero, and of course we have Mendeley, EndNote, Ref, and Write. These are all software that you can use for citation. You can also use online citation generators and assistants like these web-based tools are useful for quickly generating citation for individual sources or building bibliographies. We have Scriber, citation generator, Zotero, Pip, MyPip, and Research Rabbit and Litmaps. Yeah. Now you can also write. Now here you can write the abstract. As we said, we need to write the introduction and the conclusion at the end, and also we need to write the abstract at the end. After you finish your manuscript, write the abstract, because you need to have a comprehensive idea about everything related to your manuscript. And during the process of writing, there are many problems that occur that may change maybe even the title itself. You may even change the title itself. So that's why you need to wait till the end to write your abstract, your introduction, and your conclusion. So it is summary of whole research paper. It should be a format of many IMRD, which is introduction, method, result, and discussion. It should not be more than required. And as indicated in the instruction of the journal, it addresses the objective of the paper. It describes the material and methods of research paper. It is result and conclusion. It is just a summary of the paper, so it can be substituted as full paper. And the abstract is the gist of your manuscript. All researchers target the abstract. So whenever I look for a title online, I just go and read. I immediately go and read the abstract, because the abstract gives me the gist of the article. So to write the abstract should focus on what your research is about, what method have you been used, what your main findings are, which journal will have it, and each journal will have its own word limit for abstract. So some journal may ask you to write a maximum of 200 words, some 100, some 300. So it depends on the IFA. You need to check the IFA for the limitation of the word limitation in the journal. Yeah, you need to create a compelling title. It is the part of paper which is usually read most often. The title is the most important thing in anything yet. So if you just read the paper, if you read the title of the paper, you can decide whether you need it or not. So the title of the paper should be specific, accurate, and complete, and it should begin with the subject of the paper and should comprise the main identity of the paper. It should not contain any abbreviations unless it is well known by target audience, like EFL, ESL, and so on, and should attract the readers. It should be less than 15 words and should include the key result of the research. Communicating your ideas effectively. So first draft often tend to be written in quite a train of thought manner. So when you write, you have endless of thoughts. So this is not a bad thing. It helps to get everything down on paper, so to speak. But it is important to then review everything you have written to ensure that the core messages of your research are not getting lost. Here are key tips for ensuring your core ideas and findings are clear. Make sure you have stuck to the point. Don't be afraid to explain further. Ensure you have included your unique standpoint. State your case with confidence. Review what you have written and ensure you have put across your key points confidently and unambiguously. One of the important tips is also to refine your language and grammar. This is really important. You know, as teachers, most of you are teachers of English maybe, or teachers at the university. So it is really important for you to refine your language and your grammar. It is important to remember that not everyone reading the paper will be a native English speaker. So using flowery language or overcomplicated sentences could make things very difficult for them to understand. The following tip to help you refine your writing: that keep sentences short and simple, express one main point per sentence. More ideas mean more complex sentences. Don't get sidetracked. Front load your sentences. So I mean by this, put the most important info at the beginning of your sentence, where scanning readers are likely to see. Build every paragraph on one idea or topic. When you change another idea or topic, start a new paragraph. Check your use of technical language. Avoid using initials and acronyms unless they are common. and clear out the dead wood. What we mean by dead wood, it refers to words or phrases that can be omitted or simplified without a loss of meaning. So removing it shortens and clarifies your copy. Another tip is considering ethics when you want to submit your final draft. The final submission checklist include be clear on authorship. Have you included all the contributors on your article? Sometimes you have more than one author, so you have to include all the parties or all the authors in your manuscript, and then you need to agree who is the first author, who is the second author. Agree with your co-authors which journal you are submitting to, and tell them when you submit. They should be familiar with the submission process. Of course, all journals ask for one corresponding author. One author is going to be responsible from the submission process and the editing process, but you have to agree as a group on all the requirements, and you need to agree with them on the type of journal you're submitting to. Whenever you have a problem, you need to go and discuss it with them and solve it as a group. Dispute on authorship can slow down peer review and publication, so make sure decisions have been made together and everyone is aware. Yeah, really important is to avoid plagiarism. Plagiarism is, as you know, is copying material without including that material in quotation mark and without appropriately acknowledging its source. So paraphrasing or summarizing too close to the original wording is also considered as plagiarism. So it's not acceptable to go and, for example, take a paragraph from an article and then you just paraphrase it and you write it without citing the resource. Borrowing, selling, purchasing, or lending academic work for submission for academic credit is also plagiarism. So while writing research paper, one should provide a citation and use quotation mark to show exactly from where the information is taken. Yeah. Double check your data. Using data sets gathered by someone else, check you have permission to use them in your work. Plus, if a statistician helped with data analysis, make sure you acknowledge this. Most of the authors do not acknowledge the effort of the statistician. And actually, the whole study or the whole article is based on the data analysis. So it is really important to appreciate and acknowledge their effort. So include everything, check the instruction for authors. Some journals may need supplemental data to be submitted along with your article. Check the journal's instruction for authors to make sure you have included everything you need. And you need also to declare any interest. Make sure you have declared any funding and the role of the funder in your cover. Later, for example, if, your study or your research is funded by the King Abdulaziz University, you need to state that in your article. So we have declaring of interest. Transparency is really essential. Relevant interest and relationship that could be seen as influencing your finding, whether financial or otherwise, must always be declared to the journal editors, reviewers, or readers. They always have or often have a template to sign, declaring the interest. Upholding standards describing experiment or procedure. Make sure you include warnings of any hazards that could be involved in replicating these, including any instructions, materials, or formula you have mentioned. You will also need to cite any relevant standards or codes of practice and include a reference to them. Evidence you have followed procedure, national and international procedures governing experimentation on people and animals, statement of ethical approval, trial registration, and informed patient consent will all be needed with your submission. So anything related to your article, anything you used in your manuscript or in your research should be proven and should be documented, and you should give it to you should submit it to the journal. Yeah, one at a time. This is really important. So remember to submit your article to just one journal at a time. So it's only ever being considered by one editor and one set of reviewers. If you decide you want to send it to another journal, you can always withdraw your paper. You withdraw your submission. You shouldn't submit your article or your manuscript to more than one journal. After submission, you need to be patient, because the process of reviewing takes time. Sometimes it takes about 6 months, sometimes 3 months. So be patient. Dealing with an academic journal requires a good dose of patience. Generally speaking, such operations are understaffed or perhaps only staffed part-time. So it depends. Okay, I will answer your question. It depends on the journal policy, but you may have to wait a month just to receive an acknowledgement that your paper has been received. Your manuscript may be, you have 3 choices. You have three alternatives. Either this manuscript is going to be accepted without change, and then we all congratulate you, and this is rare, by the way, or accepted but subject to revision, and this is usual. So it is okay. It is okay if it is accepted and they ask you to review your manuscript. You just go revise the IFAs, the instruction for OSA, make sure that you include everything, and then you submit again. Rejected, this is not the end of life or not the end of history. Don't feel dismissed, it's okay, because you can just edit it and submit it to another journal. Okay, so a good question is, what can happen if I submit to multiple journals? Yeah, anyone to answer this question? What can happen if I submit to multiple journals? Abdulaziz asked this question. Yes? Yeah, it takes a long time to get the decision of your paper, whether it is accepted or subject to review or rejected. So if you submit and this paper is accepted from more than one journal, this is legally unaccepted. Yes, if it gets accepted in many, the authors will be blacklisted. Exactly. So this is legally not accepted. The authors will be, as she said, as Lama said, they will be blacklisted. And you have to make sure that this journal or your manuscript, if you submit it to one journal, you have to make sure that you include all the information related to you and to the other authors. Just in case, if the other authors try to publish it in a different journal, so you have all the information, their information, I mean, and all the authors who try to submit the manuscript to more than one journal will be blacklisted and will be illegally asked for that. So as we said, if it is rejected, this is not the end of the study. A study found that around half of papers rejected from one journal found their way to publication in other journal, just go edit it and submit it to another journal. Yeah, so these are some academic research sources. What sources will point you toward reliable sources for your academic research? We have Google Scholar. Go if you want to write a research, go to Google Scholar, write the title of your article or your topic, then you'll find a very good number of articles related to topic that will help you in writing your manuscript. Go to Register also, the same idea. So for journal articles, books, images, and even primary sources, they will help you a lot in collecting your data. You go to the Library of Congress. Everything is online. Luckily, everything is online, and with just with a click, you can find infinite number of related articles. You can also go to your university library, King Abdulaziz University Library, where you can find good amount of books related to your manuscript. Go to Google Books, where you're looking for a recent publication or an out-of-print book, there is a good chance you will find it on Google Books. Go to ResearchGate. ResearchGate has been described as social networking for research scientists. So you can just make a profile there, and whenever a researcher publish an article which is related to your study, which is related to your field, they are going to send you a message that someone has published an article related to your field. WorldCat also, when you're looking for library resources, WorldCat is one of the best tools. As I said before, your university library, when you're conducting academic research, university library can be one of your best resources. In addition to online database, journal articles, and books, your campus library also has academic librarians who can bring you the best resources, can point and bring for you also good resources. So do you have any questions? So this is the end of my presentation. I hope you benefit from it. Do you have any questions? You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Elbashir, for the great interactive and valuable presentation. And just to remind the participants, this is not the first presentation about publication. You can go back to our old presentations, and you can find more about research and publication. Here are the feedback form for those who are interested in getting their certificates, and the YouTube channel where you can find all the previous workshops, so you can focus on the ones about publication and research. Our next workshop, as you can see, is going to be about classic TPAC POP for teaching composition, a suggested professional developmental program for teaching language to writers by Sundus Al-Qadi. If you have any questions, as Dr. Rasha suggested, please, you can either write them in the chat box or you can use your microphones. Thank you again, Dr. Rasha, for the great presentation, mashallah.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.